Hello, folks. Welcome back to the 9 to 5 Athlete podcast. And as you can see, we're somewhere a little bit different today. We're not in the flat. We're in the sponsor's shop.
Hey!
Colin M. Smith's here with Jonny Smith. As you can see, there's a load of TVs in the background. And it's absolutely pissing down with rain outside. Not a nice day, but yeah. Jonny, how you doing?
I'm good, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. This is quite odd because I've only ever done one of these podcasts before, like in person, and forgot to actually press record on the video. So it essentially never happened in person. So this is the first one, and yeah, it's nice to get a little bit of change of scenery.
Well done. Yeah, it's something different, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you here. We've never recorded a podcast here at Colin M. Smith.
Didn't think you would have. But yeah, so today's obviously like we're on the 9 to 5 Athlete podcast, and to be fair, football definitely has a relevance to being a 9 to 5 athlete, but we're not going to so much discuss fitness and self-development and stuff like that. We're going to discuss the Euros because, I mean, as you can see, hopefully you can see, we've recorded this in the video. We've got, Johnny's got the home top on, I've got the away top on. From what year is this from?
It's got to be 2014, 2015.
Yeah, I'm picturing like Christoph Berra in this, I think.
Yeah, that could be right. And I am wearing a 22, 23 kind of effort. I have got the new one, but it doesn't get a full run out until we go to the Euros.
What have you got on the back of that? Anything?
Yeah, I've got my initials in my year of birth, as I always do.
Yeah, no, too right. So today, what we're going to be discussing, as we spoke about, we're going to be discussing a little bit about the Scotland team going to the Euros. We're going to be discussing who we would cut from the team in terms of we've got 26 just now in that provisional squad, am I right? 28, and then we're going down to 26.
Correct.
So we're going to have to cut 2 players. We're going to discuss a little bit about how we see Scotland getting on in our group, a little bit about the Euros themselves, about some of the standout players, who we think might actually go on to win it, and various other little bits and pieces. A little bit about the Tartan Army. Maybe a story or two from Jonny. He's been many a place. If you listen to the first podcast that I did with Jonny, you would have heard a story about where was it you were in that story? You were on a train and some boy whipped out a gun or something?
Yeah, that was Moldova.
Moldova, yeah.
Wow, 2004. That took me back a decade or two.
Wow. You've certainly been about. I've probably only heard the tip of the iceberg in terms of where you've actually been. So it'll be good to hear about that today. So first things first, you are the podcast sponsor. So where are we today?
Yes, we are. We're here at Colin M. Smith in Forfar. We also have branches in
Dundee, Arbroath, Brecon, Aberdeen, Portugal.
Kirriemuir, Forfar and Arbroath. Ryan was almost there. He's added a few new locations, which at some stage would be good to add to. Kirriemuir, Forfar, Arbroath, Paris, New York.
Yeah, I seem to get it. I've got it wrong a couple of times. I think that, to be fair, the last couple of times I think I've been on the money. Was a little bit confused to start off with.
You definitely got there. You've perfected it, mate.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yes, to be fair, for anyone that doesn't actually know Jonny, which I'd be surprised if you don't and you listen to this podcast, Jonny obviously runs the shop here at Colin M. Smith alongside some other people. He has been a client of mine for going on 3 years. 3 years, August.
Yeah,
came on as a client with me off the back of doing both of his knees. What's the technical term for it?
Ruptured patella tendons.
That's the one.
Both knees.
One after another. If you want to hear about that story, go back to the other podcast. That's a story in itself. But no, Jonny's made massive progression with his fitness, with his strength. His knees are both very functional nowadays. So yeah, that's a little intro. I think we should probably get into the first topic, and I think we're going to go into Scotland themselves. And I mean, it's probably pretty cruel straight off the bat when we've not even seen the friendlies at this moment in time to even be thinking about who we're going to cut from the team. But I think there may be a couple of people who are more likely than not. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's probably absolutely right, Ryan. And what all the teams are doing before the Euros, provisional squad, that gives them a chance to bring the whole squad together and let the coaching team assess all the players, including ones that maybe wouldn't normally be, there. So it gives them a chance to check in case there is a wee surprise, because, they do like to chuck in a wee surprise there every now and then.
Yep, there's certainly a couple of players chucked in there. I mean, obviously Ben Doak's the main one that everyone's been discussing. I think he could have been a shoo-in if he had been fit the whole season. He might have seen enough of him to decide that he was going to take him. But the fact that he's been injured kind of just leaves a little kind of question mark over it.
Not played a game since the middle of December, Ryan, and I can totally understand why he's included him. You saw what happened with Billy Gilmore when he was included in the Euro 2020/21 squad, and people were like, what's he doing there? And he actually came on, he was brilliant. He was man of the match against England in that 0-0 draw at Wembley. So is it possible that Ben Doak could do that? Yes, but I think it's probably slightly less likely because of his lack of game time this last wee while. The kid's definitely got a future for sure. Has it come too soon for him, Jonny Smith? I think so. I personally think so.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one for the future, but I don't know. He's going to have an absolute belter of a 30 minutes if he's to be picked. He's going to have to make an absolute statement in training and in both the games if he gets a chance.
Definitely. The first friendly on Monday is in Faro against Gibraltar, and then the second friendly is at home at Hampden against Finland. So he's probably going to get, like you say, a bit of game time. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, possibly.
What do you think he's going to do with these friendlies? Do you think he's going to look to get he's going to test a few boys, or do you think he's going to look to get his starting team against Germany out on the pitch?
No, I think, especially the Gibraltar game, I think he's going to use that maybe more to give a few of the outsiders an opportunity to show what they've got, maybe prove that they're in with a shout of, making the bench or possibly even making the lineup, depending on how well they play.
Yeah, and then maybe more likely against Finland, there might be something a bit more aiming towards.
Yeah, aiming towards the solid starting lineup. I would think that's what you would think, but it's Steve Clarke. Nobody knows.
Yeah,
some people say he's predictable, but every now and then he just shucks in a left field choice.
Yeah, you honestly never know. And I think then, obviously, if we're thinking about cutting the two players, one of them is more than likely going to be a goalkeeper, 4 goalkeepers. You don't really take 4 goalkeepers to a tournament, do you?
I think it's an absolute certainty, Ryan, that he's going to cut one of the goalkeepers. And which one's he going to cut? I'm absolutely certain it's not Angus Gunn, because I'm pretty sure he's number 1.
Yeah.
Despite not a great performance for Norwich in the playoffs against Leeds, particularly that second game that they got beat 4-0. Bit of a disappointment for him, not the way he would have wanted to finish his season, but that's just the way it is. I still think he is the number 1 choice. Craig Gordon is there pretty much for the experience element. He has been there, he's seen it, done it with Scotland. Coming up for 20 years of service to the national team is amazing. So I think he'll stay. So for me, it's between Liam Kelly and Zander Clark as to who's going to be staying at home.
I don't know. I personally think on this one, this is just my opinion as well. And I don't know. I've seen a couple of things in the news about Liam Kelly the past couple of weeks, which have put me off of him a little bit, where he's supposedly now willing to make a move. Either Celtic were talked about, but it looks like he might be going into Rangers as second goalie. And I don't know. There's something about a player going in happily as second goalkeeper that just puts me off.
And especially back to the club when he started his career and never really got a chance to make it. For me, that would be a bit disappointing. I would hope to see him maybe go down south and, cement himself as a first team keeper, for a championship, possibly premiership club and see how he got on. But yeah, a little bit disappointing, although he did have a very strong end to the season for Motherwell.
Definitely a good player in there, but I think maybe just with Zander Clark, maybe just having been in there a little bit longer, played a couple of games, maybe not brilliantly. I mean, his last appearance wasn't that kind on the eye, to be fair, was it?
Was that the game against France?
That was the game against France, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I actually attended that match. A cracking night against an unbelievable team, where Scotland put out pretty much a B team, and France went, here's our star-studded top 11, and we're like, wow. And then the bench was even full of absolute superstars too.
Where was that, in Lille? No.
Lille, that's correct.
Lille,
Yes.
Yeah.
Stade Pierre Mauroy.
Didn't know the name of the ground, but there you go. So if we're going through the team, I think we're pretty dead set that it's going to be either Liam Kelly or Xander Clark. And then if we're looking through the rest of the team,
I have question marks over Grant Hanley, purely from a perspective that he's really not played much this season. He's spent a lot of the time on the physio's bench. It's been a real struggle for him. I think he's in there again off the back of experience, so I can totally understand. But I've got him as a question mark, as a possibility for being cut from the original 28 down to the 26. The other name on my list is Ryan Jack. Again, has some real good experience, but again, it's been an injury-interrupted season for him, and he's never really gotten a chance to cement himself in that Rangers team this season. But if he was fully fit, I would have no qualms about putting him on the plane, but I don't think he is. So again, for me, he's another one with a question mark next to his name. So Kelly or Clark, Hanley, Jack, and I've got Ben Doak down as a question mark as well.
Yeah, I would think so. Ryan Jack's, I mean, Rangers fans will probably know more about it, but I actually don't know why he's been left out so much this season and what the deal is with him and the new manager. Like Ryan Jack, even when Rangers have not been great the past couple of seasons, he's always been like a standout.
Yeah.
And I don't watch much of Rangers, obviously, but anytime he's played Celtic, Ryan Jack's obviously a player, and he's been a player for Scotland previously.
He's effective at what he does. And that's why, if he had been fully fit, then I would say for definite. I'm holding the gun to your head. Which two are not going on the plane?
I'm not taking Liam Kelly, and I'm not taking Grant Hanley. I just would like to have Doak there, just for sheer kind of excitement of maybe you've got 10 minutes, just chuck him on, see what happens. I think he could make something happen. Whereas, I don't know, he's just got something different, a bit more pace, a bit more directness than maybe James Forrest has had previously. But again, coming to a game.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I'm gonna cut Kelly as well, and I'm probably gonna cut Ryan Jack.
Okay.
That's my
two
that are not going.
Cool. So we've talked about who we would cut from the Scotland team. Now, getting a bit more serious, who are we starting against Germany? What's the lineup? I mean, I've got a formation and a team out in front of me. I've been a few scribbles along the way as well. So let's both go through the team from goalkeeper through to strikers and just see if we match up, see if we're anywhere near.
If we're anywhere close. Right, goalkeeper.
So goalkeeper is going to be Angus Gunn. I'm pretty certain about that.
Yeah, I'm going with Gunn as well.
Oh,
sorry, what is your formation, by the way?
My formation is, well, you've got the three, you've got the two wing backs, you've got three in midfield, and then I've actually went with like kind of a midfielder playing off a striker rather than two up top.
Yeah, I've gone for a 5-3-1-1.
That's essentially the same formation as what I've
got. Yeah, that's what I've gone for. So Gunn for me as well.
Then
centre backs,
a back three, of three centre halves.
Yes.
As Porteous,
yes,
Hendry,
yes,
and Tierney. Sorry,
I have agreed with that. However, I've got a slash with Tierney. Tierney's definitely going to play. There's no doubts about it. But I have got a slash somewhere along there for potentially my main Kerry man, Scott McKenna.
Well, yeah, you never know. I don't actually know how his season's finished in Copenhagen.
I believe it finished well, and they won the Danish league.
Did they? Okay. I kind of lost track of it after the Champions League fixture they played against Man City.
I think they may also have been in the Danish Cup final.
Okay.
But I can't neither confirm or deny whether that is the case, and if they did win it or not.
He's definitely within a shout. There's no reason why not, and I think he actually might play. He might play a part at some point, even if he doesn't start that first game.
Well, that's it. I think it was absolutely imperative for him to get out of Forest and get some game time if he was going to give himself an opportunity to play for Scotland in the Euros. And going to Copenhagen appears to have been a good thing. There was an initial hiccup there. Something happened with the coach, or he had a fallout with a teammate, something like that. But that appears to have been smoothed over, and he's progressed from there. So I really hope it does. I do like Jack Hendry. I'm just not absolutely certain that playing in Saudi Arabia is beneficial to anyone's international career. And I pretty much blanket cover everyone. And there are one or two players at the Euros this year that are playing their trade there. But for me, that doesn't guarantee you getting to play for your country.
No, I think we're going to need to see what he does in this next camp and see if he's still up to it. I mean, Steve Clarke seems to like him, and I think I've obviously watched him at Celtic and watched him previously for what was the Belgian club he played for again? He played for a couple, didn't he?
Yes, Oostend.
Yeah, watched him in the Champions League was it Club Brugge?
Club Brugge, yeah.
He played for and was kind of like Jack Hendry can make you feel like that sometimes when you're watching him, a little bit like, what's he going to do next? But
I think it depends on who's playing beside him.
True, yeah.
A lot of the time, for me, Porteous, since he came in, made his debut against the Ukraine in Krakow 2 years ago, which I also attended. 0-0 draw, but it was the point that secured Scotland's winning the Nations League and moving up to pot A.
He was colossal that night, if I remember.
He was absolutely tremendous. He made no mistake, because there was a lot of people who were like, oh no, Porteous is a bomb scare. He's going to have a mare here. He was brilliant. He was fantastic. Him and Hendry, to be fair to him, were absolutely superb that night.
Yeah. Did hear a rumour as well that there's interest from Italy for Porteous.
Wow.
Which I don't know if it's just a rumour or not, but it's heard through the grapevine. Which I think that'd be a good move for him. It'd probably suit him Italian football.
Great. Look, the more guys we can get out playing in leagues like Serie A, absolutely, I'm for that every day of the week.
Yeah, 100%. So the wing backs, I think the left-sided wing back speaks for itself. It's going to be Andy Robertson. If
absolutely.
He's fit, he's captain and he's playing there. It's the right wing back there's a question over.
I wonder if this is where we'll differ, Ryan. I have gone with Mr. McCrory.
I've went with him as well.
Wow, there you go.
I've not got much evidence to go by, but I just think he's the most natural player in that position, and I believe he's been playing in that position for Bristol City this season and had quite a strong end to the season. So,
and do you know what? He's versatile as well, and you can slot him in other places, but we definitely are struggling on the right wing. I'm absolutely devastated for Aaron Hickey that he's not going, because he's been absolutely tremendous. I'm also devastated for Mr. Patterson, Nathan, because he got injured as well. However, Nathan tends to give me the fear a little bit, because he gets a little bit overexcited. He makes some rash passes in places. It's like, what are you doing, son?
Yeah.
It was a horrible injury, but I felt with more and more game time, he'll only get better. So it's really devastating to lose two players in the same position as close to the Euros as that. Is pretty disappointing. But it's an opportunity for the likes of McCrory. Ralston, what did you think about Tony?
I don't know. I just don't think he's played enough football this year. Every time he comes on for Celtic, he does a job, but I just think you'd need to have been playing for your club consistently to be in with a shout of playing at Euros. Yeah,
I would agree with that too. I like Tony Ralston. I've seen him a few times. I remember having him a loan spell at Dundee United at one stage in his younger career, and he was really good. And I think once he gets that first team football, he's maybe going to have to leave to get it, I think, eventually. But he will come good. But for me, it's definitely McCrory gets the nod ahead of him.
I think so. There's been a couple of different things mentioned in terms of Forrest playing out there. It's a no from me unless it's a change throughout the game where we're going more attacking, then he comes on. I'm not to say he can't do that position, because he does play it for Celtic in a sense. Sometimes he can defend, he can get up and down. And there's also been mention of maybe Tierney goes out there and McKenna goes in, but I think that's just kind of some football manager stuff that I don't even want to see on the pitch. I want Tierney to play in the strongest position.
I would agree with that. I didn't want to see that either. Somebody was like, oh yeah, just stick Andy Robertson as right back. Oh, no. You're basically weakening yourself in two positions of the team, and we definitely don't need that.
Yeah, I can only talk from my own experience as well. Like, I've played right centre half the whole season.
Yeah.
If I then randomly one game, and it did happen this season, I randomly at one game got asked to play left centre half, and that's still in the central defence. I'm not getting played left back. You're just a wee bit like, whoa, okay, everything's just back to front here. That's me. I'm obviously not a professional footballer, but it's harder than it actually looks, and it can totally throw players off. And players that can make that transition are like, it's a talent in itself.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we don't have any of them in our team, in my opinion. So
this will be easy. Surely we're going to be the same on this.
I would think so. So I've called him mix sauce, as the young kids do nowadays. McTominay, Gilmore, McGregor. You went different?
I have actually.
Okay.
So I've gone McTominay, McGinn, McGregor.
Okay. Only reason McGinn isn't there for me is because
You've pushed him further up the pitch.
Yep.
I have to say it's probably a fault on my part then. I've made a bit of a faux pas then. But then I think I know who's going to drop out. And yeah, I've maybe gone a little more attacking on mine then. Well, no, because John McGinn will still do the same. Yeah, McTominay, I would just stick McGregor in the centre, obviously, and McGinn.
So who's playing off the striker for you then?
I put Ryan Christie.
Okay, yeah. See, that was the one I was a little bit torn with, because he seems to have had a good season. Anytime I've watched Bournemouth, he's a big part of what the guy Iriola does, and he obviously likes him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Steve Clarke will start them, but I've decided that I wanted McGinn playing off the striker.
I think you're probably right, and now that I think about it, I'm probably going to change that.
Okay.
Put Gilmore in ahead of Christie, and obviously push McGinn up behind. Now this will be interesting. Striker.
So again, I think this differs between who we're playing. If we're playing Germany, it's perhaps different to playing Switzerland and playing Hungary.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, but I personally just went with, I changed it actually. I thought he might go with Dykes against Germany, but I've changed it to Adams.
Well, I've actually put Adams / Dykes because I think he's going to go with one of the two of them, and he'll introduce Shankland and one or other of Adams and Dykes into the game at some stage.
Yeah.
I do wonder if he will start with Dykes purely from a physical aspect. Not saying to rough the Germans up, but to give them a wee bit of a hard time. Something to think about. I think Dykes gets a bit of a hard time sometimes from supporters. Oh, he's not doing enough, but he's constantly working hard. He's flick-ons, knock-ons, holding the ball up. He's excellent at that. He really is very good. But then again, Adams is extremely fast, extremely quick thinking. I watched him in the playoffs for Southampton the other day, and he won a tremendous free kick out of nothing for them that helped them to see them over the line, because he'd been a bit injured, I think, and that was why he hadn't started. But he came on and he did exactly what he was meant to do. So there's a possibility for definitely a shout for either of them. You're favouring Adams? Do you think?
I think I'm favouring Adams in that game, and I think we'll possibly come on to why, because we're going to go and talk about the first game in Germany. Well, the first game in Germany against Germany. You're going?
I am.
I'm not, unfortunately.
Oh, Ryan.
I have a slight inconvenience of a baby due in about 4 weeks.
I know. Ellie, come on.
Selfish little bastard. But no, anyway. So, first game, Friday,
the 14th
of June.
8 p.m. kickoff UK time, 9 p.m. German time. München.
Yeah, so that's it. And so I don't know if you know, I'm assuming there will be. There's like an opening ceremony and stuff like that. Is there going to be something?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you'll be in the stadium quite early, do you think?
Oh, I think we could be there from as early as 6 o'clock. Potential. Now, I'm taking my wife and children. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Lewis. Hi, Nicola. I'm taking them all. However, they haven't got tickets for the game against Germany. In fact, we're kind of struggling for tickets, but we'll see. I've definitely got one, so I will definitely be there. But Wendy says she's happy to go to the fan zone with the kids, and we know quite a few other people that will be doing something similar. So
yeah, it's one of those. I think it's going to be one of these moments that, like, as a Scotland fan, you literally could not miss it. I think it's just going to be an absolute spectacle to see, like, Scotland go out. It'll maybe similar to when they played Brazil. Maybe slightly different, but I think it'll be just as much as a spectacle.
Definitely, it's an unbelievable experience to see an opening ceremony. Then and that Scotland Brazil game in 1998 will live with me forever. Being inside that stadium to see that, it was just a carnival of colours, samba dancers, boys in kilts, bagpipes. It was just absolutely amazing, really fantastic.
Yes, it's going to be absolutely nuts. And so we all know the Allianz Arena, and so that's going to. So I read something that said that, like, for international games it holds slightly less than it does for league games. So is it like?
Yeah, that's right. It's about 70,000, but it holds up to 75 for league games.
Something like that. Yeah.
That must be due to I don't know, segregation or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Have you been there before?
No, new ground.
New ground. Perfect.
All of them new grounds.
All of them are new grounds as well. Yeah, no, that's a bonus as well.
Massive bonus.
So I think if we're getting into the nitty gritty of this game, it's undoubtedly going to be a difficult one because, I mean, if you were talking about the Germany of maybe like 7 months ago, 6 months ago, you're maybe fancying your chances, but this seemed to have just improved over the past 6 months.
Improved in friendly games, Ryan.
Okay.
Big difference from a competitive fixture. Scotland's friendly forum, piss poor, really bad in fact, some might say. However, our competitive forum is absolutely superb. So I just think we're going to see, we'll see a much better Scotland there. Is it difficult? Massively. Let's look at the pros and cons. The cons, we're up against the host nation. In their own patch, you know, on their own turf, with the majority of the backing of the stadium guaranteed.
Yeah.
And their home nation cheering them on. The pros, Scotland don't care. We're just going to turn up and do what Scotland do.
That's it.
As long as they do what Stevie Clarke tells them, they can cause an upset. They definitely can. And in some of the form that we've seen over qualifying for this tournament, and even from the Nations League campaign before, they're absolutely capable of getting something out of the game. I don't know. What do you think? What are you putting it down as?
I think Scotland just need to make like a statement rather than anything. I mean, if they come away from that game having got no points, I don't think anyone would be massively shocked because of the quality that Germany have got. But if they make a statement with it, gain a little bit of momentum and put a decent performance in, moving into the next two games, that would be brilliant. But obviously, the optimist would, I'd love to take a point there.
Yeah, I'm the same. Look, I'm Mr. Optimistic and I'm full of bravado. I'm like, we're going to go in there and we're going to beat the host nation on their own patch. My heart's definitely saying that. My head is saying I'd take a 1-1 draw right now.
Yeah.
So
I think when I was rattling through the Germany team earlier on and kind of, I was looking at their squad and thinking about the team that they could actually field. And when you go through it, so, I mean, I'm thinking he's going to go with Ter Stegen in the goal. He's got a back three of Jonathan Tah, Rudiger, and the guy Schlotterbeck from Borussia Dortmund. Perhaps he's going to play wing backs. I'm not entirely sure. Then you go through and you've got Gundogan, you've got the boy Andrich from Leverkusen, Leroy Sané, Musiala. He probably plays Wirtz and then probably plays Havertz as like a false nine up top.
Right, okay.
Or he could play the guy Füllkrug that plays at Dortmund as well, who again is just a way to play the Champions League final this weekend. They've got an abundance of talent in there. So that also kind of makes it interesting as to see what he's going to do with the Scotland selection, because who do you put up against? Because Tony Rudiger, you've seen him play before and he's just absolutely batters into people. I think, do you play Dykes against him and just rough him up a bit? I don't know.
Well, I think so. Or do you catch him out with pace? Hopefully, although he's pretty fast too, to be fair. Well. But Che Adams is rapid.
Yeah.
So
that confused me. But what about, so let's go through them and then score prediction for the Germany game. What do you think?
Heart says 2-0 Scotland and Head says 1-1 draw.
I want to say 2-2. I think the occasion will get the better of Germany and they'll flap a little bit. I'm hoping anyway.
Nice.
We need to take note of these predictions to see how close we get.
Yeah, we'll see how close we get. We're full optimism here at the RLS podcast.
So then, a few days later, we go to, I'm having to read it off my sheet here because I cannot remember the name, the Rhein Energy Stadium, but also known as the Mungerdorfer Stadion.
Wow.
There you go.
It rolls off the tongue.
It really does. So that's obviously against Switzerland.
Yes.
Who are 19th ranked in the world, which I didn't actually know they were that high.
Yes, they are highly ranked.
But
they have been good, but I feel they might be going the other way down the slope a wee bit. They're an aging team. Honestly, Summer is still in the goals for them. How old is that man?
Yeah.
57.
He's 35 years old, Jan Sommer. But what they do is they've got the guy Kobels. He's the Dortmund goalkeeper.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if they might.
Oh, switcheroo.
Because he's been on a real load of great form this season. He's a good goalkeeper, so I think they might switch him round.
Okay.
I think some of their
Brett
danger
Mbolo
men.
Mbolo still?
Didn't see him in the squad.
Oh, wow.
When I looked, I don't know if he still is.
Controversial.
They've got the guy who plays up front for Burnley. Is it Adiomi? I think you call him.
Yes.
So he's
good. He's very young, isn't he, as well? He's quite a young kid.
AC Milan striker. Going to be lying if I say I remember his name. They've actually got 3 players that all play at Bologna as well, play in the midfield. One of them is Freuler, I think. And you probably recognise that name.
Yeah.
Obviously, Granit Xhaka, Akanji.
Sheridan Shaqiri, still playing. Player, absolute weapon of a player. Super
He actually
boy.
scored the only goal in their last fixture.
That's right. 1-0.
And he's playing in the MLS just now, I think.
He is. Chicago Fire, I think.
That's the one. Yeah.
That's right.
So I think that game's one game we've got to be thinking.
Xhaka, of course, is coming off a phenomenal season for Bayer Leverkusen. I did think it was strange when Arsenal got rid of him. However, Arsenal had a pretty good season, but Granit Xhaka's going to have an amazing season.
Yeah, anytime I've watched Leverkusen this season, he just makes everything tick. Like him and Wirtz actually are the ones that just like pull the strings. So yeah, I mean, we're looking at Switzerland thinking that's a game we want to take a few points from, but it's also a hard game.
I think it's the same for all 3 games. Everybody in our group is looking at everyone going, we can win that game.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very competitive. Probably one of the most difficult groups to predict. A lot of people will probably predict Scotland will finish bottom with very few points.
Jamie Carragher did.
Who did?
Jamie Carragher did.
I've never been a fan of his anyway. Shut up, Jamie. Don't like you.
Yeah, our podcast is better than yours, mate.
For sure.
He's only got 1 million views each. But anyway. Only 1 million. But yeah, so that game is undoubtedly going to be another hard one. And then I believe it's the 23rd of June.
Correct.
In Stuttgart.
Correct.
Where we play Hungary.
Formerly known as the Mercedes-Benz Stadion.
That's right, yeah. Only last season.
Changed it last season.
Yeah.
To the MHP arena, isn't it?
MHP, yeah. Or the Stadion Nectar Park.
Okay, interesting.
I was reading this earlier. I wanted to fact check it because I wasn't sure if it was actually true. Hungary haven't lost an international game since I think it was October 2022. They got beat by Italy.
I think that's absolutely correct. That is a true fact.
It's
a Ryan Stanton true fact.
Which I thought was absolutely crazy, considering when you think of Hungary, the 26th ranked team in the world, and they definitely
34th.
We are
38th.
I had it written down here somewhere. It was on my other page. We're 39th.
39th. So look, I think Germany are still in the top 10, aren't they?
They're actually 16th, believe it or not. Yeah.
16th. Look, round about that kind of position, anybody outside the top 10, you've got to fancy your chance, no matter who it is. I saw Scotland the last time we played Hungary, which was in March 2018, which was really surprising considering how drunk I was for that entire trip. No word of a lie. Holy mackerel. Great time. Lovely city in Budapest. Great time. And we played them at the Groupama Arena and we beat them 1-0 with Kerry Muir's Scott McKenna as the captain, no less.
So he was, yeah.
So, and we won the game 1-0. Now, it was a friendly. There wasn't an awful lot you could take from it, but there is absolutely no shadow of a doubt. Hungary have massively improved since then. And I want to say they have, if I'm correct, an Italian manager these days, much like the Turkish team. Yes. Also have an Italian manager. So there's quite a bit of a Italian influence throughout the Euros in terms of that. So they'll play pretty decent football, and they have got 2 or 3 standout players now, whereas before they've been struggling for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at their team just now on paper, based on the teams that they're playing for around Europe, there's obviously some of the standout players. You've got like Szoboszlai at Liverpool, he's their captain. He's obviously the guy that makes things tick.
Yeah.
Could hit a ball from 50 yards and stick it in the top corner.
Definitely.
Look, I'd be lying if I said I knew loads of the Hungary players. They've got the guy Kerkez that plays left wing back that's at Bournemouth just now.
Yeah, that's right.
Who is a good player, obviously. And the other kind of guys as well. It's just that they've got the guy, the guy Galushi, I think that's how you pronounce it, the goalkeeper that wore the trackies.
That's right.
At the last,
yes,
the last Euros, and I'm pretty sure he was in the squad of the.
He certainly was. Yeah.
So
He's
yeah,
still there too. Holy mackerel.
they've got him, and he played one of the.
He's a reasonable age too.
I think he must be going on 36, 37. Hopefully, he still wears the trackies at this Euros.
What about the guy that used to be at West Brom? Is it Zoltan Gera? No, he's bound to be retired. He's bound to be retired now.
He's retired.
He was about 42. He's a great player.
He was a good player, actually. I remember him scoring a goal in the FA Cup final for Birmingham.
Puskás? No, right, okay.
Puskás, yeah.
Well, we're pushing it too far.
So yeah, did we do a score prediction for the Switzerland game? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't do that.
Well, on you go. You go first.
I'm going to go 2-1 Scotland.
2-1 Scotland. Yeah, I'm liking something like that. 2-1 Scotland as well. I think these games are just there's going to be a goal between them. I can't see
tight
anything else other than a goal separating us either way.
Yes.
And then the Hungary game, I think if we've taken nothing from the Germany game, we've won at Switzerland, we're going to need at least a point at Hungary.
Definitely, because remember, it's not just the top two. There is a potential go through as one of the best third place teams as well.
So there's only one third place team goes through.
Is it only one?
I don't know. I wasn't entirely sure.
I thought it was maybe two.
Maybe two. Okay, that's a fact.
Maybe
I don't know.
We'll check that out.
Yeah, we'll check that out. So,
what are you going for in the Hungary game? I'm going 1-0 Scotland.
I'm going to go 3-2. Absolute belter of a game.
Exciting.
Hopefully you enjoy that one.
Absolutely.
So we've got our score predictions, a little bit about the teams. So you're obviously going over. What's the kind of agenda for you when you're going over? Because I spoke to so many people that are going over.
So we fly out from Edinburgh on that well-known route of Edinburgh to Split in Croatia. We have about 5 hours in Split. I think we can go to. We're checking out a beach bar and a pizza restaurant. Nice.
Get that done, you.
Sounds good. And then we're flying to Munich later that night. Mm-hmm. So we get into Munich probably about 9 o'clock at night. Head straight for our hotel. Good nap. Then it's match day, baby.
Yeah.
First match day. We're in Munich for 4 nights in total. Mm-hmm. So from the 17th, we take the train from Munich all the way over to Cologne. We're then picking up a hire car, driving to where we're staying, which is about Cologne, about 40, 50 kilometres out of Cologne. So just a bit of chillax time. 4 nights there. There might be a trip to a theme park the kids have worked out, which sounds okay. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Not sure what their mum will say about that, but hey. And then we're taking the train from there on the 20th.
Don't wear your kilt on the roller coaster, please.
No, I won't. I promise I will not.
Imagine that photo.
I'm not wearing my kilt every day of this trip, by the way. No chance. For 2 weeks, it's not happening. We're then taking the train from Cologne. Not booked that one yet. Just got to sort that out. Okay. And we're taking the train from Cologne to a place called Bretten, which is in between Heidelberg and Stuttgart.
Okay.
Equidistant kind of thing. We've got some friends there that we'll catch up with. Day trip to Heidelberg and obviously to Stuttgart for the match.
German efficiency.
Yeah, German efficiency. And then we're taking the train all the way back to Paris to fly home on the 26th.
Okay.
25th or 26th, maybe the 25th.
Could be later.
Could be later. Come home, get Wendy and the kids settled, and I'll be heading back out for the group for the next stages, baby. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Actually, I was speaking to Paul this morning. He was telling me that like a mutual friend of yours has booked refundable hotels for all the possible fixtures that places that he could go if Scotland qualify. And go
well done, Cap Care. Gav's our man. Best Care travel agency, best one on the go.
That's he's got it sussed, hasn't he?
He's been doing it for long enough.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Which game are you looking most forward to? Maybe goes without saying it could be the opening game, but
definitely the opening game. It has to be because it's such an occasion. We are along with Germany, we are the focus. We are opening the tournament. There is no higher privilege apart from probably getting to the final than opening a tournament of that magnitude and basically with the world watching you.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fantastic. But I am excited about the other 2 games. I'm still holding out hopes that I might manage to secure some tickets for Wendy and the kids so we can all go to one of the matches together. But I've just got to keep fingers crossed.
Are you planning on going to any of the other games, like any other random fixtures?
Funnily enough, I'm not.
No.
However, if somebody was to say, Jonny, would you like tickets for this game? I might be keen. However, sorry, Wendy, if you're listening to that. It's not meant to be a total football fest.
Oh, no, it'll be amazing to be able to just like dot around Germany like that. And obviously the fans from all over Europe are just they're going to be everywhere, aren't they? They're going to be absolutely everywhere in Germany.
You'll be meeting them from all countries. It'll be really, really good.
I can obviously visualize when I was in Germany in December and like being on the trains and even just seeing like a whole bunch of Dortmund fans. Like imagine being on those trains and you've got Scotland fans, Croatia fans, like everyone. It's going to be absolute mayhem, but I'm sure they're ready for it.
Really good.
So last time we did the podcast was a little bit more fitness related, but one thing I did ask you is I wanted to hear a Tartan Army story. And I know you've been here, there, and everywhere. I don't know if you know off the top of your head. So how many countries have you actually been to in terms of like seeing Scotland or just in general? Do you know a rough number?
Yeah, rough number in total. Countries I've visited myself in total is about 54. But with Scotland, probably must be somewhere around about the 40 region.
Mm-hmm. And then
41.
Like how many Scotland trips do you think you've actually been on? Like how many games do you think you've been to see Scotland away?
Scotland away. Now I have actually tallied this up before and I've not done it for quite a while, and I think I'm around about the 80 mark. 80, so it's a long time. So from my very first trip was to the World Cup in 1998.
Okay.
Bit of a random quick story for that one. My pal phoned me one day, a guy sat next to at Tannadice going to watch United, and he said, "Do you want to go to the World Cup in France to see Scotland play Brazil?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I do." And he said, "I goes, how are you getting these tickets?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going to buy them off eBay." I was like, "What the fuck's eBay?" It was 1998. Nobody knew what eBay was.
No.
And we bought the tickets, and the tickets were from the Swedish FA.
All right, okay.
Scotland stopped Sweden from qualifying for the World Cup in 98. We beat them. John McGinley scored a belter at Ibrox, I think it was,
right.
And we beat them 1-0. Although I've never seen a team cling on for dear life like we did that night, but we stopped them from going, and clearly they didn't fancy going to watch us play against Brazil in the opening game. And we bought the tickets. £200 in 1998 was a lot of money, but I borrowed it from my father.
You'd take it.
And that was it. The rest is history. From then, I've just gone to numerous places. There's very few countries left in Europe that I've not seen Scotland play. I'm running out of countries to go and see them play. So that's why I need to stretch further afield. Are you hearing, Wendy? Are you hearing?
He's getting an excuse in early.
Oh, see, you're saying you can't go because baby starting's due. I wanted to go to Japan in November 2009.
Okay.
And I said to Wendy, Scotland were playing in the Kirin Cup against Japan. And I said, Wendy, I've got to go to this. No, you can't go. Our daughter's due next month. And I said, but it's next month. She said, no, what happens if baby comes early? So
yeah, it's not exactly a quick journey home, Japan, is it?
Yes. Visa for Japan, denied.
Yeah. You'll just need to keep an eye out for the next time Scotland play Japan.
Hopefully soon, mate. Hopefully.
You never know. They might end up with quite an odd fixture out there. So do you have anything that came to mind? Any other particular story you were thinking of pulling out the bag?
Well, funnily enough, I was going to pull the Kalashnikov one out of the bag about Moldova, so I've done that one. So I can't do that one. Right, so I'll go for a more recent trip. Just a couple of years ago, we went to the much visited country of Armenia in 2022, June of 2022. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't really know an awful lot about the country. So we had to go and play, well, we didn't have to, but we went to Dublin first to watch Scotland play the Republic of Ireland. And Scotland were roundly humped 3-0. We were terrible that night. It was a shocker of a performance. But as usual, we'd had a good night before, a good night that time, and then the next day on the plane to Armenia. So we arrived in this sun-drenched haven, which is kind of bordered by Georgia to the north, Iran and Azerbaijan to the south, with a bit of sea to one side of it. But anyway, tiny wee country, but beautiful, into the capital, Yerevan. And while we were there, some of our friends had organised a bus trip, small bus trip for about 15 of us. So me and my 4 or 5 people that were on it with us went on, Paul and Gav, the likes. We got on this bus trip and they said, right, we're starting at 11 o'clock in the morning and we'll be away till possibly as late as 10 o'clock at night. We were like, fantastic. Where are we going on this trip? We visited 2 monasteries, beautiful, up in the hills, stunning places. We stopped at a lakeside retreat for a full spread meal with all sorts of food, wine, beer, everything available, beautiful scenery around us, treated like kings. And we also went to a winery. When we got to the winery, we obviously did the usual tour around the winery bit, but then the fun bit is sitting at a table and tasting the goods. So we're testing the goods. It was absolutely beautiful wine, red wine, white wine, rosé. Don't even like rosé, and I was like, this is great. And a couple of gentlemen, 3 gentlemen had joined our tour. 2 of them Scotland fans, you could tell because they were wearing shirts. And they joined the tour anyway, just on to the side of our tour. And I'd gone up to the girl and I'd said, this wine is absolutely amazing. Do you ship this to Scotland at all? And she said, no, I'm afraid we do not. We do not. And I knew I couldn't carry it home on the plane. And one of the 2 gentlemen that had joined our tour approached me and he said, excuse me, mate, we have a wine importing business. We'll be importing it to Scotland. And I was like, really? That's fantastic. Where's your business? He says, it's Villeneuve Wines and Peoples. And I goes, oh, I know that. I shop there all the time. And his dad, who it turned out was there, went, I know you. I've met you in the shop before. So there we are, standing thousands of miles from home, and the guys knew me. But also, the other part of that story is, once we'd done the full tour and the bus took us back, we're practically halfway around the country. It was amazing. Got us back. And the guy that had organised it says, Johnny, I'll take care of the bill just now and I'll contact you later to tell you how much it was. Now, we came away from that. It was an unbelievable experience. And me and Paul and Gav said to each other, that was brilliant. How much is that tour going to be? Gav was like 100 quid. Paul was like, must be 150 quid. He phoned me a month later and he says, Johnny, 40 quid a head. Absolute bargain.
It's a bargain in that.
Some of these countries you go to, you will just get the most fantastic places to visit, and they'll leave you with memories for a lifetime.
Yeah, it's just not somewhere anyone would ever really think of going unless they were going for a purpose, unless they were going to see some football. But
oh, mate, I would highly recommend it. Anybody wants to go to Armenia, go. Wonderful. You'll have a great time.
That was like even last month. I was like, I'd never thought in my life I would want to go to Bosnia. But here it was in Mostar, and I'm thinking, this is like the same thing. It's like just totally off the beaten track, but it's just a different experience that you're not going to get in a sunny resort in Spain.
Yeah, it's absolutely the case. I've got one more minor story for you that just sprang to my mind, and it's from another far-flung trip. 2019, I went to Kazakhstan to watch Scotland. Not memorable. A great trip, actually. A great trip, ruined by 90 minutes of shite football.
What was the score that night again?
Got beat 3-0. Horrific. Truly pretty much the end of Alex McLeish's second reign as Scotland manager, which was probably a mistake in the first place. But anyway, we'll not go into that. Wonderful trip. The first day we got there, we had a good scope around the place, went to a few bars, a few drinks. Me and my pal Gav ended up in a nightclub, and I'd put my jacket into the nightclub, and then I woke up the next morning with no memories and no jacket. So we then had another couple of days, but I had a jumper to keep me going. We had another couple of days there, the horrific game, but good fun, good time. It comes to the last day of the trip, and I'm like, I've not found my jacket. Gav says, well, go looking for it. Which nightclub was it? We had no idea. So we got in a taxi and went round how many nightclubs before we found the right nightclub?
how many nightclubs there is in Kazakhstan.
5. 5 nightclubs before we found the right one. And when he got on the door, I kind of half recognised the place. It kind of came back to me in a flashback, and I was like, "This is the place." And I went, "My jacket," and the lady went, "Aha! You crazy man! Yes, bring him his jacket." So it was. I think we spent about a tenner on a taxi taking us around all these nightclubs. Tried all the nightclubs, by the way, until we stayed in the one where I got my jacket back. So all's well that ends well.
See in my head, I can't even visualize what Kazakhstan would look like. I just have the only thing I've got to go off of is Borat, which is a bit stereotypical.
Very stereotypical, but these people, it was wonderful. The people were so friendly. It was a lovely country, and again, I would highly recommend it.
Next summer holiday to Kazakhstan, guys. Let's go.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had a few drunken nights out in the far ends of the world. Think about those places, though. I bet the beer's cheaper.
Oh, mate. Armenia, that's another reason you have to go. The last place we were drinking in Armenia before going to the stadium was what I can only describe as something you would have in the bottom of your garden as your garden shed. And when it had little windows, she opened up, poured you pints, and you were like, "Great, how much is this costing us?" 93 pence a pint it was costing us. It was fabulous.
Yeah, you're going to get a cheaper pint than that in many places, will you?
No, definitely not.
No, so moving on to the latter parts of the podcast. A couple of predictions in terms of the wider tournament, in terms of who we think is going to go all the way, other than Scotland, obviously. Player of the tournament, young player of the tournament, top goal scorer, some rough estimations as to what we think is going to happen there. So, winner of the tournament, I'm struggling with this one. I think it's just so hard to predict. Although there's an obvious couple of favourites, I just think it's really hard to predict. Do you have one that's top of your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about it all the time. It's obviously Scotland. Right. Okay, being a bit more serious. Yeah, I want Scotland to win it. Of course I do. Hand on heart, I'm probably going to go France. I just think, having seen them in the flesh and seen what they can do, they absolutely are the team to beat for me. They've got talent flowing from every position. It's an embarrassment of riches when you look at their bench and stuff. It's frightening. So for me, they're the standout. However, there are one or two other teams floating about there. Got to say it, England, they're absolutely superb also. They've got a super team of super young talent. But again, it's about, can they do it on the big stage? They tend to, I'm not saying they tend to choke, but well, they do. They tend to choke. There's no way you can say it otherwise. Yeah. Or it just doesn't go their way, whatever. But they have got to be seen as a potential winner as well. It's probably anyone's game. Otherwise, you can never rule out the Germans.
No.
You can never rule out Italy or Spain. Any dark horses for you, or who else are you thinking?
I mean, my mind instantly goes to France. They've literally got Champions League winners that are not even getting in the squad and whatnot, and their team just has so much depth in terms of like players that they can play in each position. They've got the tournament experience. And the thing that puts them above England and Spain and Germany is have I seen France and insert team come up against each other, I just think France are going to be the team that comes out on top. I just think France can beat an England, can beat a Germany, can beat a Spain, just with the experience that they've got. But then again, England, if Harry Kane scores that penalty in the World Cup, I mean, it could be a completely different story.
It's absolutely the case. But I do think France will feel they have a point to prove from losing that World Cup final, that they arguably shouldn't have lost it, but they did. And I think they'll have the bit between the teeth.
Yeah, so I think Bookie's favourite is France, but I think it's for a reason. I think that's who I think is going to win.
Yeah.
Player of the tournament. You would suggest that it's probably going to be someone that goes all the way with their team. but there could be a couple of people that just go and have a really good tournament. You got any ideas?
Yeah, look, there's obviously a lot of obvious names that have got to stick out for everyone. Kylian Mbappe has got to be, right up there. Probably one of his countrymen as well, who absolutely impressed me when I saw him, was Benjamin Pavard. Is absolutely tremendous. He just strolls through games. Super player. Harry Kane. Who else is in there? Bellingham for England. Again, he's had a fantastic season for Real Madrid, and he's absolutely proven himself to be a top drawer kid at 20 years old. Frightening.
Scary,
absolutely frightening.
I was just watching an interview with Luka Modric before I came in here, and he was just saying that Luka Modric is going on however old now, 37 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was just saying
38, I think.
Is it 38 now? He is. He was just like he comes into training. He looks like a man. He's built like a man. He is the arrogance he's got as well. He's Billy Big Bollocks basically. Like the guys at Dortmund had even said they were sick of him because he was just like so full of himself. But I think that's where you fit in perfectly at a team like Real Madrid. You've got to have that kind of attitude, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Luka Modric, he could be player of the tournament for all we know.
That's it.
He's an absolute wizard. Every time you think, he's finished or coming to the end, he just absolutely proves you wrong time and time again.
Yeah, he's so
fantastic.
Good. I think he might sign on another season at Madrid as well. There's talk of him after the Champions League final making his decision.
I would absolutely agree with that too. I think he will sign a new deal.
He's just such a good player. So yeah, I think the player of the tournament kind of is, you just rattle off all the top names.
Maybe I put Bellingham in there. He's probably more likely the young player of the tournament, isn't he?
If he has anything like a decent tournament, I think that young player of the tournament will probably be his. But there are other names, the ones I've gotten written down, the kind of obvious ones. Talked about Florian Wirtz earlier.
Definitely.
Jamal Musiala.
He's on my list.
The two Spanish young boys. I mean, we've got more than just him. Pedri.
Lamine Yamal. 16 years old. How is that possible to be getting called up for the Euros at 16 years old? He must be unbelievably good. He is unbelievably good.
Camavinga for France. Still young as well.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? You kind of, again, that guy's, Camavinga's been hanging about for ages, and you think, he must be a fair age. No, he's not. He's a kid still, technically. The other ones that were on my list were Güler from Turkey, the Real Madrid's, attacking midfielder, let's call him. He's been coming through, and Xavi Simons was mentioned to me as well, from the Netherlands. Again, fantastic young talent. Yeah,
it's totally evading me as well. There's another young kid that plays for Turkey. And who does he bloody play for?
Oh yes, I saw his name too.
I just can't remember his name now. There's another Belgium. The guy, it's not Veerman, but it's similar kind of pronunciation to Veerman. Okay. He's looking like a good player. There's also the centre. I'm not sure if he's going to start for Italy, but the guy that plays centre half, his name's Scavolini, I think. Yeah. Plays for Atalanta. Played in the Europa League final. Was colossal. He's been brilliant for them all season. Okay. Only 20. There's not many defenders mentioned very often when you come with these player of the tournaments and things like that, but he seems to be good.
The only other player that I came was a bit left field maybe is the guy Sesko that plays for Slovenia, centre forward. Yeah. Again, they say he's an absolute superstar of a kid.
Only 20 and I think he's 16 goals for Leipzig this season.
Yep. Something pretty damn good going in the Bundesliga at 20-year-old, isn't it?
Yeah, not too bad at all. And then the only other one I had was top goal scorer, but I think we're pretty dead set that it's either going to be Mbappe, Kane, or Ronaldo.
Possibly.
I'm not sure about Ronaldo.
I'm not too sure about Ronaldo either. I've got a feeling Portugal might not have that great a tournament, but we'll see how it goes. They've got, some might say, a favourable group, but then again, those are the ones where upsets happen, isn't it? Yeah. Ones like that. Bellingham, potentially, depending on how he gets on. Saka, maybe.
Yeah, you just never know. There's someone that will just pop out of nowhere, sort of like. Like, I mean, Slovenia's centre forward, Sesko, or whoever might just pop up and just score a...
Scott McTominay, 8 goals, anyone? Hello?
You never know. Lyndon Dykes could have the tournament of his career. You just never know. Anything else?
The only other thing I was going to say, Ryan, every tournament, there's a group of death. In this tournament, there's 2/3 when you look down them. Group B, Spain, Croatia, Italy, and poor Albania. That's a bit of a group of death. And Group D, Poland, Netherlands, Austria, and France. Now, people might think Netherlands and France will sail through that. Austria are coming into this tournament in some really good form.
Yeah.
So I would say there are a couple. Some might say the Scotland group's a group of death in certain respects.
Yeah, you just if you rate Hungary, which you should, then you could argue that they're just as good as any of those other teams just mentioned in terms of international football. Although they maybe don't have the same names as like the Netherlands. The Netherlands could drop an absolute stinker; they're liable to do so.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. Is there any teams in the tournament that you fancy a wee dark horse to maybe go further than people might expect them to?
I mean, kind of mentioned a couple of their players earlier. I think Turkey are being mentioned quite a lot as being a little bit of a dark horse because they go away steadily with their international games. They seem to pick up a load of good results, even in friendlies and stuff like that.
And since Montella's come in as their manager, he's really turned it around a bit. They were struggling a wee bit. That Kuntz had kind of made them a half-decent team and they were looking okay, but he had a couple of bad results. They got rid of him, brought in Montella, and the confidence is flowing for them for sure.
There's always one. There's always like a Wales that get to the semi-final or get through to the quarters. I'd like to see Scotland do what Wales did.
Did somebody say Scotland? I was just the way to say that.
That is what I would love to see, and you'd probably have sacked off the gym if Scotland get to the semi-final. You'll be long gone.
Absolutely, mate. I'm sorry. You and my family and everyone are getting canned off for that. Absolutely certain.
Mind you, by that time, I mean, I might be, baby's been there a couple of weeks, might go, fancy a little holiday?
Head wetting in Germany for the final or the semi-final. One of the two would be. Could you imagine?
You think everyone in Scotland would be trying to get to Germany at that point? You think, well, not everyone, but like people that hadn't even been to the group stages would be like, right, we need to get. I'm going to swim over the sea or something like that.
Oh my goodness, I can see it now. Do you know what? Your kid's going to have a mental middle name. It's going to be like McGinn, Dykes, Gilmore, McTominay. It's going to have the most fantastic set of names. Scotland.
Well, Ryan Porteous. I do like Ryan Porteous. He's my kind of centre half.
There you go.
Maybe just call his first name Porteous. That's a little bit too far.
Port for short.
That's a little bit too far. But yeah, look. Hopefully this has been something a wee bit different. Better than open goal anyway.
Absolutely. Nobody gets booed here at the 9 to 5 Athlete Podcast.
Snoddy, you can come on our podcast.
We'll love you. We'll give you the love. He was one of my favourite Scotland players. He should have done so much more and got so many more caps.
I always thought he was going to join Celtic eventually, but he never did it.
Thankfully.
Nah. But yeah, thank you for listening. That was slightly different. And just final little point, obviously, as we talked about at the start, we're in Colin M. Smith's.
Yes, for all your home electricals. We do TV, audio, home appliances, washing machines, tumble dryers, built-in appliances. Come and see me. I'm always here, guys. You name it. We do it here.
Thanks, Jonny.
Here we go. We have a dream.
Cheers, guys. Catch you in a bit.